Have you ever been a vegan and you go to church and then you get told, well, it's okay that I eat meat because God put animals on earth for us to eat? That's the biggest myth that Christians believe, and I'm going to tell you why. So people of all different faiths, and even people that don't have a faith, and Christians especially, believe that animals are put here on earth for us to eat. However, logically speaking, if that were true, how come there are so many animals that we don't eat? Well, then you would say it's just because of cultural preference, and there's other cultures that eat those animals, so that's what they're here for. But then what about all the animals on earth that we literally can't eat? What about all the animals that are so far deep in the ocean that we've even yet to discover them? What's their purpose on earth if not for us to eat? What about animals whose might and strength make it nearly impossible for us to catch them and kill them? Animals such as Leviathan, who God mentions in the Bible in the book of Job. Job chapter 41, verses 6 through 8. About Leviathan, God says, will traders bargain over him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with harpoons or his head with fishing spears? Lay your hands on him. Remember the battle. You will not do it again. So, if animals were made for us to eat, and Leviathan's an animal, then how come God in the Bible is specifically talking about not being able to eat him? Also, if animals were created for us to eat, why have they been given a central nervous system and are able to feel pain? I mean, plants aren't given that. Why does God talk about caring for them so much in the Bible? We humans like to think that the world revolves around us and that everything in it God had made for us. And while God is a wonderful Father and has given us wonderful gifts, plants, the fact of the matter is that animals were not created for us. They were created for God and for His glory. Colossians 1:16 says, for all things were created through Him and for Him. If we go back to the very beginning of the Bible, Genesis, on the 5th and 6th day of creation, God saw the animals that He had created and He called them good, apart from human beings, before He even created human beings. And then, after He did create human beings, He commanded us to eat plants. Genesis 1:29, after creating humans, God said, behold, I have given you every plant-yielding seed that is on the surface of all of the earth, and every tree which has fruit-yielding seed. It shall be food for you. Now, I know what you're thinking, but God gave Noah permission to eat animals. Later on, sin entered the world, evil entered the world, and after the earth was destroyed, and surely probably a huge majority of the plants were destroyed because of a flood, God gave Noah permission to eat meat. However, whether that was a permission that He gave for a time or permission that He gave for all time, He never commanded Noah to eat meat, and He never said that it was His ideal. As ChristianVeg.org states, quote, eating meat came with a curse. Animals would no longer be humanity's friends. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast, Genesis 9:2. While eating meat was not prohibited, it represented a complete break from God's ideal of animals and humans living peacefully together, as depicted in Eden and by the prophets. It's also interesting to note that it was actually a very loving thing for God to give animals the fear of humans, because if some humans were going to be chasing after hunting and eating animals, then that fear would propel the animals to a lot of times get away and be able to survive. So to sum up the myths that Christians believe about vegans that are not true, vegans do not care more about animals than they do about humans. God loves animals. You can love Jesus and not eat meat. And God did not create animals on earth for us to eat. Thank you so much for watching, everyone.